news tonight. Alleged plot to install illegal interim government heats up polity in Nigeria. Labour Party dissociates itself from insurrection plans. And Supreme Court dismisses Nwajuba's suit against Tinubu and Atiku over alleged vote buying. Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The political tension in Nigeria took a turn for the worse on Wednesday when the Department of State Services (DSS) confirmed rumors that a section of the political class is planning to thwart Nigeria's democracy and install an interim government. Giving more details on Wednesday, spokesman for the DSS, Peter Afunaya, said the service has identified some of the key plotters. While the DSS spokesperson did not reveal the names, he vowed that the service will use all arsenals at its disposal to frustrate such plot. The development has elicited mixed reactions from the Nigerian public, who have condemned any plan to disrupt the nation's democracy, which has gone uninterrupted for the past 24 years. In a related development, the Labour Party has distanced itself from confirmed plots by some political actors to truncate the result of the recently concluded general elections. The party's spokesman, Yunusa Tanko, made this known in a televised interview on Thursday. Tanko insisted that the party is not plotting any insurrection, describing the development as a conspiracy against the state. He also accused the DSS and other security agencies of not protecting the interests of the Nigerian state during the 2023 elections, claiming some of the party's supporters were disenfranchised in parts of the country. According to him, the Labour Party won't do anything against the laws of the country and will follow due process in addressing its grievances. For more analysis, political affairs analyst Dayo Akintobi joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, the plot of an insurrection, which has been confirmed by the DSS, is quite serious. How much of a threat is this to Nigeria's political space?
Well, for the DSS to have come out publicly and proclaimed that it has confirmed that there is an active plot to subvert the democratic will of the people and not inaugurate the president-elect come May 29 and in its place install an interim government using the instrumentalities of the courts. The DSS went so far as to say the alleged plot planners plan to fish around for what they call, quote unquote, a frivolous court judgment to basically stymie the inauguration and use that to install an interim government. I think for the DSS to have come out and said it, it's a clear and present danger. It's a real threat. The issue at hand is whether they should have actually said something publicly about it or just gone ahead and arrested the perpetrators. In as much as they have said they know who they are, they have evidence of the fact that the plot is real. Many political watchers believe the DSS, being an intelligence agency, Department of State Security, is a secret service that is in charge of state security. In other words, it's an intelligence agency. And as such, a lot of what it does is not known to the public. The very sanctity of its operations is based on covertness, is based on secrecy. So to have actually come out and announced this to the public, we're not quite sure what the agency's motives are. But if you actually read in detail, carefully, painstakingly, what was said in his press release, one wonders why they have not just gone ahead. Number one, they didn't name the so-called conspirators. They didn't name them. Number two, they said they would do everything in their power, but they've not done everything in their power because they should have just gone ahead, arrested these people, charged them to court, and brought them to book. So your question about whether it's heating up the polity clearly is a warning to the public that has scared everybody, because We've had 24 uninterrupted years of democracy. Nobody wants an interim government which is not known to the Constitution. It's an illegal contraption. The fact that the military did it in its day doesn't mean we can do it in a democracy and it's illegal. It will be illegal. So it's not known to the Constitution. It's alien to us. We don't want it. It shouldn't happen. So, of course, people are concerned after having heard what the DSS had to say.
Well, indeed. A legacy many Nigerians celebrate is that democracy has gone uninterrupted for the past 24 years. Now, what must be done to ensure that the nation's democracy remains sacrosanct, regardless of political tensions and scheming?
Well, one of the first steps, of course, is to have a seamless election. The electoral process should not be fraught with irregularities to the point where a cross-section of the public is dissatisfied. It is the fact that there are so many aggrieved voters with the declared results that's enabling even any kind of groundswell or even thoughts of an interim government or a court challenge or anything to truncate the process that's going to lead to the inauguration of the president-elect, the governors-elect, the assembly members, the reps, because a proportion of the populace is viewing the election as having been flawed to the point that any inauguration of any candidate is illegitimate. Any candidate that comes out of that flawed electoral process, some people view as being illegitimate. That is what is enabling some other people to take advantage of and now say, let's find alternative solutions. We don't want any elected person that's coming in on a faulty foundation to be inaugurated into office. So the first step to sustaining our 24-year unbroken record of democracy is to have seamless elections, to have elections that are as near perfect as possible to where there will be very few complaints and nobody will view the declared results as illegitimate. That will give anybody grounds to be seeking alternatives like interim government. If we've done it for 24 years without any blemish, I think we can expect it to carry on from here till eternity without being interrupted, as long as we continue to improve on our electoral processes. And in the cases where there are disputes, let it be seen that justice is done. Let us not have a candidate who came fourth in an election being declared the winner, as we have seen in the past.
Well, indeed, Dayo Akintobi, thank you very much for your time and your contribution. Well, we seem to have lost you there, but still thank you. Moving on, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State has said President Muhammadu Buhari is an ardent believer of democracy and democratic processes. Briefing journalists on the outcome of his meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, the governor said he visited the president to brief him on the achievement of his administration as well as to congratulate him on the party's victory at the presidential polls. Lalong, who also listed some of the successes he recorded as governor, added that the president will ensure that plans against democratic processes do not prevail.
Nigerians will always say, God forbid that. Not under the administration of President Buhari, who has been saying it every time, that I believe in democracy. I believe that after my tenure, I want to go and rest. He said it today, that I'm going back to Daura. And I told him that, yes, some of us will still disturb you in Daura. So this man has worked very well for democracy. He has initiated, laid down the foundation. We worked, we elected a president, and some people will still have a dream to even say they will scuttle this democracy. Many people will fight against it. So those who are still talking about it, I will say they are just dreaming. They are just doing daydreaming. Because those of us who work for this mandate believe that by the grace of God, President Buhari is going to bring a successor, and that successor is already Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, the Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal filed by Chukwuemeka Nwajiba, former Minister of State for Education, seeking to disqualify Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar as the presidential candidates of their political parties. Nwajiba and the Rights for All International, a non-governmental organization, alleged that both men bought the votes of delegates to enable them to become flag bearers of their parties. Inyang Ekwo, the presiding judge, dismissed the suit, saying the court lacked jurisdiction to hear the suit on the grounds that the plaintiffs do not have the right to file the suit. He added that it is only in Nigeria that an association registered for charitable purposes would venture into partisan politics. As part of efforts targeted at cleaning up polluted areas in the Niger Delta region, the federal government has approved 2 contracts for the construction of a center of excellence for environmental restoration in Kana local government area of Rivers State. The Minister of Environment made this known while briefing newsmen at the end of a council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa in Abuja on Wednesday. He also disclosed that the construction of a 100-bed specialist hospital in Ogoni has been approved. Our correspondent, Simis Ladigun, has the details in this report.
Oil-producing communities in Nigeria's Niger Delta region are some of the most polluted due to crude oil spillages. Kana local government area in Rivers State is one of such. To reverse this ugly trend, the federal government has approved 41.4 billion naira to build a center of excellence for environmental restoration. The project, according to the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, will help facilitate efficient and cost-effective approaches to contamination management and environmental restoration.
Presented 2 memos. One for the award of contract for the construction of Center of Excellence for Environmental Restoration at Wiakara, Bori, in Kana local government area of Rivers State, in favor of CCECC Nigeria Limited in the sum of 41 billion 472 million 263,848 naira 60 kobo. So I can assure you that going forward, we should be able to proceed with all our plans, either remediation, either mangrove restoration, either the construction work on these centers, which are likely going to be flagged up by Mr. President in April this year to signpost the actual construction work, in the livelihood programs around the Ogoni land.
Given his brief, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the Aviation Ministry got approval for the construction of a 150-room capacity female hostel at the cost of 2 billion naira.
Federal Ministry of Information and Culture also presented a memo to Council which was approved today for the procurement of 13 operational vehicles for the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. The operational vehicles will be used for the day-to-day operations of the FRCN, and in particular, it will be used to report, gather news in respect of the various cases in the tribunal, and also for the National Population Commission census coming up sometimes in May.
On his part, the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, said the Council approved the renewal of a management contract for ports facilities, as well as the procurement of 2 tugboats for operations at the Lekki Deep Sea Port.
Renewal of the management contract for the management of tugs, pilot cutters, and mooring launches within the limits of Apapa and Tinkan Island Ports Complex. This management contract was signed between Nigerian Ports Authority and Messrs. LTT Nigeria Limited, LTT Coastal and Marine Services Limited, initially in April 2007 for a period of 15 years, which therefore meant the agreement had expired March last year.
He added that the rehabilitation of internal roads in the port in the country was ongoing and was aimed at reducing the complaints of users of the port. Simisola Adugun, TV360, Abuja.
The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat, have received their certificates of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The event took place at the INEC Lagos office in Yaba area of the state. The governor promised that his administration would take its mandate to a new level of performance, delivery of dividends of democracy, and complete all ongoing projects, as well as ensure that all new ones were funded, prioritized, and delivered. Our correspondent, Tamilore Akinleole, who attended the event, has more details in this report.
2 weeks after being re-elected, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is here to accept the mandate to kickstart his second term. With beaming smiles, the governor and his right-hand man Obafemi Hamzat received their certificate of return, officially signaling their victory at the governorship polls. In his acceptance speech, the governor, while expressing appreciation to the Lagos residents for his re-election, gave reassurance of his new commitment towards good governance in the state.
I'm therefore seizing this opportunity to once again extend our hands of fellowship to all our fellow contestants in the office of governor, deputy governor, House of Assembly members, for us to join hands to build a greater Lagos of our dream, a greater Lagos that is realizable in our own lifetime. For those dissatisfied by the outcome of any of the elections, there are legitimate mechanisms of redress offered by our functional judicial system.
On his part, the INEC National Commissioner Sam Olumeku lauded citizens for exercising their civil responsibility by voting the candidate of their choice.
The novel technology, BVAS, has been a game changer in the conduct of the elections. With this new technology, we have been able to conduct a very good election. The people of Lagos State spoke, and they spoke very, very loudly. They elected who they wanted. Whereas several other environmental factors outside the purview and functions of INEC are attributed to INEC, I want to assure the Nigerian public that we remain committed to doing our job professionally.
The Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, who has been elected for the 6th time, said he and his re-elected members will work to complete projects in the House.
I want to assure Lagosians, on behalf of my colleagues, that we are ready to continue to build on the last Assembly success. Our 10th Assembly, the good job we've been doing, I want to assure them that we'll continue to do more. Make laws that will bring progress to Lagos, make resolutions that will protect interests of our people in Lagos. That is assurance that I have with my colleagues.
Celebration and jubilation has filled the INEC office here at Yaba after the state electoral officer, Mr. Olusegun Agbaje, presented the certificate of results to the winners of the just concluded governorship in State House of Assembly election. One good turn they say deserves another, while some disagree that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu shouldn't be in the position as the governor of Lagos State. Some have re-elected him as governor. We all look forward to a new leadership under the regime of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Tamilore Akinleole reporting for TV360, Lagos, Nigeria.
We'll take a break here, but still to come. Russia arrests U.S. journalist spying charge. We'll bring you details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. The political tension in Nigeria took a turn for the worse on Wednesday when the Department of State Services, DSS, confirmed rumors that a section of the political class is planning to thwart Nigeria's democracy and install an interim government. Giving more details on Wednesday, spokesman for the DSS, Peter Afunaya, said the service has identified some of the key planners. While the DSS spokesperson did not reveal the names, he vowed that the service will use all arsenals at its disposal to frustrate such plots. We also told you that the Labour Party has distanced itself from confirmed plot by some political actors to truncate the result of the recently concluded general elections. The party's spokesman, Yunusa Tanko, made this known in a televised interview on Thursday. Tanko insisted that the party is not plotting any insurrection, describing the development as a conspiracy against the state. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. Delhi Health Minister has said a meeting with experts on Thursday to assess the COVID situation in the national capital and said there was no need to panic because of exporting cases. The meet came a day after Delhi's COVID-19 cases climbed to 300 from the first time since August 31st last year, while the positivity rate rose to 13.89%, according to the data shared by the Health Department. Addressing a press conference, the minister said they were getting some indicators about the spike in COVID cases, but they are fully prepared. We'll take a breather now. I'll be back with more stories and business. To stay with us.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Digi360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Simi Saladigun joins us now for more stories and business. Over to you, Simi.
Thank you very much for that, Shadi. Welcome to Business News. The Presidential Port Standing Task Team has held its first enlarged stakeholders meeting in Lagos. The meeting had in attendance stakeholders from government agencies and parastatals. Speaking at the meeting, the National President of the Council of Maritime Transport Union and Association, Komtra Adeyinka Aroyemu, commended the task team on the free flow of vehicles at the port corridor. On his part, the second in command of Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offence Commission ICPC Lagos chapter, Dennis Idoko, explained that loopholes amongst officers of agencies give rise to corruption, fraud and crime.
This myriad of complaints, they can be taken care of gradually. The project of this type will, to a very large extent, stem the tide of corruption. But we know that corruption is a simmering thing, it's cooking all the time. As we are nipping them somewhere, other ones are generating. But system studies, repeated system studies, can ensure that these things
are put at the barest minimum.
In the area of the traffic congestion, ease of doing business, they have been able to at least cover some miles. But the ones we are talking about, which goes a little bit beyond the jurisdiction of PSTT and falls under the duties of law enforcement agencies, the police and the customs, these are areas we are getting concerned and disturbed on a daily basis.
This is a task for all, not PSTT alone. And you've called it then when they said, yes, they have leaders, even the community traditional rulers. Everybody is involved. Lagos State government, we keep saying it. I've been to the Ministry of Transportation, to meet with Lagos State government. We can all do it together. But within the ambit of the mandate of the PSTT, by the grace of God, come next week, you see us moving out. And when we move out, majority of you we have moved out in the past before, and you've seen how it is. And by the time we move out from next week, you see tremendous changes in the area of touting in those corridors mentioned.
We'll take a short break here and return with stock market updates. Stay with us. Another day of bargain hunting on the local bourse has led to a new high on Thursday, extending gains of previous trading with further appreciation of 1.51%. Thursday's gains pushed the NGX All-Share Index to 53,603 basis points, while the value of listed stocks increased from 29.2 trillion naira to 29.6 trillion naira. The market breadth also ended positive with 23 gainers against 10 losers. Thanks to shares of MTN PLC and Owando PLC, their combined 245 naira led other advances, driving the market's positive earnings. In 3,718 deals, investors exchanged 973 million volume of shares valued at 4.2 billion naira. A steadier tone in global stocks continued on Thursday as investors hoped the banking sector had improved to help markets end the quarter on a positive note. Now, performance of our select foreign stocks here show that the UK's FTSE and US Dow Jones had positive trading, ending with gains of 0.74% and 0.013%, pardon me, and leaving the Asia's Nikkei at 0.36%. That's the stock update. For Lashade, back to you.
Well, many thanks to Mr. for that update. And on the foreign scene, Russia's security service has arrested an American reporter for the Wall Street Journal on espionage charges. Evan Gashkovich was detained in the Ural Mountain city of Yekaterinburg while allegedly trying to obtain classified information. The Federal Security Service, known by the acronym FSB, said on Thursday. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters that Gashkovich was acting on the U.S. orders to collect information about the activities of one of the enterprises of the Russian military-industrial complex that constitutes a state secret. And in sports, World Football governing body FIFA has treated Indonesia as the host of the 2023 Under-20 World Cup. FIFA made the announcement in a statement released on their website on Wednesday. According to reports, the decision to remove Indonesia as the host may be connected to the country's football federation announcing it had cancelled the draw for the Under-20 World Cup because the governor of the largely Hindu island of Bali refused to host Israel's team. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.